What's up, family? So there's controversy brewing in the WNBA as of right now, and it's boiling over. Once again, the league's brightest star, Caitlin Clark, found herself at the center of chaos in a matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. What should have been a competitive basketball game quickly turned into a sideshow of dangerous play, questionable officiating, and league-wide backlash. And this time, a brutal collision slamming Clark to the floor, combined with a new angle of what many fans are calling a deliberate eye gouge, has ignited a firestorm. And the question being asked all over social media is the WNBA even trying to protect Caitlin Clark? Now, fans, analysts, and former players are all weighing in, and what they're saying is far from flattering. With every game, it feels like the conversation is moving further away from basketball and deeper into something darker. Is this jealousy, league dysfunction, or just a complete failure from leadership? One thing is certain, something is seriously broken, and the whole world is watching now. Right? So let's break down what actually happened in the Fever versus Sun game, because this wasn't just another hard foul. It all started with a defensive sequence where Caitlin Clark, as usual, was moving off the ball, trying to get open. But what happened next wasn't about defense or strategy. JC Sheldon, in a flash of recklessness, appeared to rake Clark across the face, an act that many fans are calling eye gouge part two, because we all remember from DJ Carrington when she last year in the WNBA, that was Caitlin Clark's first WNBA season, being in the WNBA as a rookie. She had also had her acrylics go right into Caitlin Clark's eye, so that's why they're calling it eye gouge part two, and it looked very similar to that incident involving DJ Carrington. Only this time, the follow up made things even worse. Just moments after the contact with Sheldon, Marina Mabury came storming in and seemingly out of nowhere and slammed Caitlin Clark to the ground. That angle that quickly went viral showed the level of force and aggression that you don't normally see in professional basketball, especially when no ball was involved in this play or in the play. And let's be clear, this wasn't just a bump or a charge in transition. This was a full body hit delivered with the kind of intensity that had fans and former players alike asking, why was there no ejection? Even more shocking was the response from the officials. No flagrant two, no automatic ejection, just a routine technical on both Mabry and Clark. That's right. Caden Clark, the one who got hit, also picked up a technical for a way she responded. And this isn't just about one rough play, it's about a pattern that's forming game after game. Players are taking their shots at Clark, and the referees seem content to just let it happen. And now, thanks to this new camera angle showing the full extent of the contact, fans are seeing the incident for what it really was, an assault marked or assault mask as basketball, put it like that. So with no further ado, family, I want to check out the clip and then we can further the conversation from there. So check it out. That was wild. So that was the angle. You guys see. Boom. So also I have another because Sophia Cunningham, she basically posted after the heated exchange and the heated victory versus the Sun, like whatever. She talking her trash talk, right? And mind you, this is another view of it, or a view of it, I should say. Boom. So Sophia Cunningham came right at Sheldon. So she bumped her. Sophia was like, "Yo, is that Sophia? I think that's Lexi." Look at the beginning. Now I look like Lexi Hall. Like, what you doing? Like, let me make sure. Let me make sure. What is that? Yeah, that was Lexi Hall who got up on her when she basically eye gouged Caitlin Clark. So as you guys can see, and I want to show you guys Sophia Cunningham because it got real wild. Where Sophia Cunningham was basically sticking up for Caitlin Clark, like, yo, y'all not this is not about to happen. Y'all not about to be doing this. Keep coming at my girl Caitlin Clark. So she like, look, y'all don't want to do nothing. But look, man, the intensity was already there since Sheldon came at Caitlin Clark like that. So Sophia got her get back. That's what it looked like to me. Like, look, you're not gonna be keep coming and bumping and bullying my teammate like that. Y'all might have done it before, but y'all not about to do that now. That being said, you would think that the whole thing with Caitlin Clark and Sheldon, you would think that an incident this blatant, this physical, would demand a strong response from the WNBA. But if you're expecting disciplinary action, an official statement, or even just a meaningful comment from league leadership, think again. Because what fans got instead was silence. No ejection, no suspension, no review from the league office, nothing. However, when it came to Sophia Cunningham, she did because this was Sophia, the fight between Sophia and JC Sheldon right here, as you guys can see, right? So this is Jason Whitlock. He said, no bigger fan of Sophia Cunningham than me. She woman handled JC Sheldon because 20 seconds earlier, a Sun player knocked her, Sophia, to the ground and it gravitated Sophia's ankle injury. It's a better story if the people say it was about Caitlin Clark. So Jason Whitlock supports and he rocks with Sophia Cunningham because basically she like, look, I'm not about to be bullied and you know things got physical, whatever the case may be. And that was Sophia Cunningham. She actually got ejected and fined and for defending Caitlin Clark and also herself after J.C. Sheldon came at her for the hard foul because she was trying to commit the foul. So she was trying to obviously make Fowler so she don't get the easy layup. She'd rather her earn it at the free throw line. So Caitlin Clark was poked in the eye, and then knocked to the ground, but they didn't eject or fine J.C. Sheldon. But once Sophia Cunningham was just trying to give her a hard foul, she got ejected and fined when J.C. Sheldon got in her face and started barking. So it's just mind blowing to me with that whole situation. But like I said, you see Sophia like, hey man, stuff happens, whatever. But you see the double standard here in a way because in that moment, that could have been used to set a clear standard for player safety and professionalism. The WNBA chose to look the other way when it came to Caitlin Clark and J.C. Sheldon, and Marina Mabrey wasn't tossed. J.C. Sheldon didn't even seem to be under scrutiny, and the only punishment handed out was a technical foul for Clark for having the audacity to react after getting slammed. And this is where the problem gets worse. Because if you look at Marina Mabrey, she basically like straight up body, she's like body knocked her, like big body, like meat truck style. You feel me? And this is where the problem gets worse because it's not just about one game or one incident anymore. This is a pattern of neglect. I'm looking at it. And that's what I'm talking about, family, and having the discussion from that angle over and over again. Caitlin Clark has been a target of hard fouls, cheap shots, and escalating aggression, and the league continues to pretend it's business as usual. But it's mind blowing to me how a woman could get so jealous and compete, but be jealous to the point where they want to harm another player. In this case, in the WNBA, they want to not even they want to play dirty and harm the individual who has changed the trajectory of the league. And in this case, Caitlin Clark, who's obviously giving visibility to all the rest of the players because when Caitlin Clark eat, the rest of the league eats. But jealousy and hatred is so deep in their hearts that they willing to play dirty, jeopardizing the safety of a star in this league who's making history, who will go down in history as one of the phenomenal players who have brought eyes like myself to even pay attention to this league, which is Caitlin Clark. I'm talking about. It's mind blowing to me how hate can run that deep and jealousy in your heart and bitterness. Like it's mind blowing to me how these women treat another woman. In this case, Caitlin Clark, who's a star in this league. So this pattern is just neglect over and over again. And you got fans watching in disbelief, wonder if these officials are even watching the same game. You got analysts and players calling out the league for this failure to enforce basic standards. And meanwhile, the WNBA is busy promoting highlight clips and pretending nothing's wrong. The optics are terrible. The message being sent is even worse because Caitlin Clark just came back from her injury. This is the second game. Mind you, when she was out on her injury, the league ratings was going down, like tanking. Like they can't survive without her, without Caitlin Clark. She is the one, right? And when you don't protect your most valuable player, it doesn't just hurt her; it hurts the entire league, and it shows the fans you don't even have control. It shows your players that there's no accountability, and it tells the future stars that stepping onto the WNBA court means stepping into unregulated chaos. And at what point does the leadership take action? At what point does the commissioner step in and say, this is unacceptable? Or does it take a serious injury before anything changes? Because right now it looks like the league is waiting for exactly that. And that's a dangerous game to play, right? And let me clear something up right now. All right, let me clear something up right now. This isn't about physical basketball. Basketball has always had an element of physicality to it. From the battles in the paint during the 90s NBA era to intense playoff defense, tough, gritty play as part of the game's DNA. But there's a massive difference between competitive physicality and blatant cheap shots. What we're seeing with Kaden Clark isn't strong defense. This, family, is targeted aggression. This is targeted aggression, and this isn't a player getting bodied up while driving to the rim. It's not hand checking or fighting through a screen. These are off ball hits like you guys seen body slam, eye pokes, and late shoves after the whistle. And that's where the WNBA has crossed the line. To make matters worse, the league leaned into this earlier on. Remember this opening season promos? The WNBA ran a campaign talking about physicality, almost romanticizing the idea of rough play. They want it to look rough. They wanted to sell intensity, but they got instead is a league where rules are ignored, frustration builds, and stars get targeted. And fans notice that same physicality ad quietly pulled and replaced with a new one focused on dominance. And you don't change your national marketing strategy unless you know you messed up. And that subtle pivot says everything about how the league is scrambling behind the scenes, scrambling and scraping, but it may be too late. Once the tone is set, once you've given players the green light to push the line, it's hard to walk it back. Now, we're seeing the fallout. Every other game becomes a highlight reel of unnecessary contact and escalating tempers. I mean, look at Dejanay Carrington, for example. Within weeks and every week is something new with Dejanay Carrington, with the aggression, right? And tempers and temper tantrums. This isn't just about bad basketball, it's bad optics. The WNBA is trying to sell the league to new viewers. They want bigger ratings, more sponsors, and long term growth. But instead of watching elite athletes showcase their skills, new fans are are tuning in to see whether the league's best known player can make it through 4 quarters without getting body checked into the hardwood. And that's not physical basketball. That's marketing disaster waiting to happen. And it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, jealousy. I touched on it a little bit earlier as I was speaking, but the resentment towards Caitlin Clark isn't subtle anymore. It's visible on the court, it's leaking into the media, and it's boiling over on social platforms. And while no one's putting it plainly in press conferences, the message is loud and clear. A lot of players in the WNBA don't like Caitlin Clark. Why? Simple. Because she's the face of the league and she hasn't even been here a full season. And here's a player who came in with more national attention than the WNBA has seen in 2 decades. She sold out arenas before playing her first professional game. Ratings skyrocketed when she stepped on the floor. Merchandise sold out. Tickets prices surged. And suddenly, players who've been grinding for years without that level of recognition are now being asked questions about Caitlin Clark every night. To some, that's disrespectful. To others, it's jealousy. And the result, they're not just competing against her, they're trying to humble her physically. This is goes beyond defense. It's about making a statement. You're not above us. You haven't earned this. And they're doing it in the most dangerous way possible. On the court, with hard fouls and dirty plays. Even worse, the silence from the league leadership, like Kathleen Engelbert, only makes that resentment feel justified. The commissioner fails to take action. The referee's reluctance to protect her, it sends a signal. Go ahead, do what you want. There won't be no consequences. Now think about that. The league finally gets a mainstream superstar, and the response from his own ecosystem is open hostility. That's not just short sighted, it's suicidal. Instead of rallying around Caitlin Clark, lifting her up, and capitalizing on the surge of attention, the league is letting personal animosity ruin the opportunity of generation and fans see it. And that's why outrage is exploding online. That's why they're attacking Adam Silver and calling for the NBA, who have been funding them being the lifeline of the WNBA, to be able to even still exist, because the WNBA cannot be self-sustainable on its own to make profits on its own to survive as a league. That's why it's being funded by NBA owners. They know what's happening here, the fans. That's why they're tagging Adam Silver. And they see the players treating Caitlin Clark like an outsider, and they see the league refusing to protect her. And they're asking a very simple question: why should we invest in a league that refuses to invest in its own future? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. On that note, family, peace.